Ladies and gentlemen, this is take 2 of Improv Tip Diaries for this week. With so many of you watching, I really want to get this right. So the improv tip, I got 2 improv tips. This comes from 2 teachers, actually. I had Breeze, many of you know Breeze. Breeze taught an improv class that I host in Venice because I wasn't able to be there, and he told me about an exercise he did, which I thought was great. And then the other one comes from the West Side Comedy Theater workout, which a jet named Tony taught. And Tony's the guy who plays on County Line with Annie and Levin. And so those are the insights. And Breeze was telling me about a game, and it started with just a 3-line scene game. And it was 3 R's, which kind of the way the game goes. But I'm just going to talk about the second and the third R. So basically you have one improviser initiate with whatever. And then the second improviser, the very second line is they're going to be revealing something. And we want to reveal something significant that is about the 2 of you that would be very, emotionally impactful. And so once you've got the reveal, you got the opening line, the reveal, and then the third line is reacting to that. So if I'm in a scene and we're in a kitchen, and the wife, let's say, says, "Hey, honey, dinner's ready," I would say, "I lost my job today." And then the wife could react to that. So that's my reveal, I lost my job. And it really gets the scene off to at least, having an impactful event up top, and we can have some emotional reactions with the 2 people. And so the other thing I thought was powerful from Tony's workout at the West Side was that we were doing 2-person scenes, and if he felt they were lacking in something substantial, like by way of emotion, and particularly as it relates to the relationship between the 2, he would ask for a monologue from both players, actually, about the backstory between the relationship of whatever it was. So I was in a scene where I was a co-pilot, and I had the pilot going, and we were, I was on the microphone talking to a person in the flight tower, and we're kind of doing all these things, but we weren't addressing what our relationship was. And so he came in and said, "Okay, give me a monologue." And then I went in and kind of gave the backstory. I've been flying with Jimmy for 10 years, and we went through flight school together, and I had a crush on him. And little monologue, and then he would go on to give that monologue. And then what he said after that, first of all, I said, literally, if you are in a show and you're doing a scene and the scene it doesn't have any oomph to it, you can break off and do a monologue and reveal a backstory, something that maybe you haven't talked about in the scene, and you can give this stuff, and that will inform the scene, and it will create and heighten the drama. Or what Tony suggested is build this muscle of the monologue, which is giving the backstory about the relationship between the 2 players, and use that in the scene itself. In other words, use that monologue and infuse it into the scene, and close to the top of the scene, which is, okay, I'm the co-pilot, and I've got a crush on the pilot. And there's a lot of ways you can go. So those are the 2 takeaways. You can do a 3-line scene, but I think the key of that is you're revealing something in the second line of the scene. We want to start these improv scenes out right in the middle, right at the height of the biggest thing going on that day, that week, that year, and then we're reacting to that. Or if you find yourself in a scene with nothing going on, bust out into a monologue and give some deep, dramatic, soap opera-y, juicy story about the situation, which will then propel the scene forward. Boom, improv tip. Hope to see you in class this Saturday or around the theater. Later.